Welcome to the Pain Points podcast. We enjoy telling the stories of everyday people, whether that be small business owners, entrepreneurs, or people with a passion for their community. We want to highlight them and give them a platform to share their story. So grab your favorite beverage and join us on today's episode where we tell the story of someone just like you. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. I am your host, Sarah Harbuck. Kristen couldn't make it today, but we have Larry Malone. Hello, Larry. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good. So you're a local nurse practitioner here in town at the In-N-Out Clinic, and you also have your own teleconsulting business for medicine.
Yeah. Well,
wow,
telemedicine.
I'm having a hard telemedicine. That was the word I was looking for, and I'm having a brain problem today.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a medical condition we can name it, but there you go, tongue-tied and all that. Like we were talking off camera a minute ago, I haven't done this in a while, so it's trying to get back into that groove, you know, when you do it every week.
Yeah, well, this is all foreign to me, so.
Right, so yeah, it's like two new people all of a sudden. So tell us a little bit about yourself and tell everybody who's listening who Larry Malone is.
Well, thanks. My name is Larry, and I'm a nurse practitioner. I've been doing this for quite some time now. I think, I graduated in 2001, so I've been doing it about 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, mainly in surgery, 14 years in surgery, but then also during that time frame, I also did urgent care. Mm-hmm. So, and that's where I'm currently. My focus is. So I work at what's called the In-N-Out Clinic, mm-hmm. which is a local urgent care clinic. We see just anybody, pretty much, you know, anybody age 5 and up.
Yep. Well, you've treated my entire family, so.
Yeah, that's actually how we got to know each other, and you know, that's probably the thing I love the most is just
meeting
different people and getting to take care of them and help them. Yeah. That's the part I like.
You know, you go to other doctors for like different specialties. What's your general practitioner? I'm like, well, we don't really have one, but we go to Dr. Larry at In-N-Out, you know, because it seems like every time we ever got a general practitioner, they would move out of town.
Yeah.
It's like, there's not really any point to keeping one if they're just going to leave me. So, you know, you've been the most consistent doctor in our family the last several years. So that's how we met. So are you married? Do you have kids? Do you have a family life?
Absolutely. So I'm married, lovely wife of 25 years now,
nice. Very
26 years. Yeah, 26 actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah, her name's Jessica. Cool. She's from Lufkin, and she graduated from Lufkin High. We met at work. So I was a nurse. She's a nurse. And so.
What year did she graduate?
She graduated in 86.
Oh, never mind. That was about a decade before I did, so.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have been there at the same time.
Yeah, so I graduated from Kilgore High School.
Okay.
So I was raised in East Texas.
Just down the road. Good deal.
Yeah.
Pets?
Yes.
Children?
2 dogs, 3 dogs, a Chihuahua, and 2, they're supposed to be Weimaraners, but they're dark brown, so I think there's some lab in there somewhere.
Good deal.
Yeah.
So animal lover in addition to being a people healer.
Yeah, and 3 awesome children. Now he's my stepson. He's 30. I've got 2 daughters. My oldest daughter's name's Kira, and Kira is 24, and she's getting ready to go to Japan.
Nice.
Yeah. So she's going to live and work in Japan for a year or 2.
That's cool.
Yeah, we're excited for her.
Yeah.
She's leaving like next week.
Yeah. Megan went a few years back, and when she came back, she was telling stories about it, and I was like, you know what? I never had a big desire to go to Japan, but now that she's been and she came home and talked about it, I was like, I think I want to go there one day. It just seemed like it seems like not only a beautiful country, but the culture is really interesting. And
well, I'm really excited for her to get to do that because, you know, the culture is so different, and she really loves it. So she's already visited once.
And I think anything like that, you know, just expanding your bubble, your worldview, it like just makes you, I think, a more well-rounded individual when you go travel and you see other things and be around other people. You expand your mind a little bit more. So.
Yeah. And so my youngest daughter, her name is Laurel, and she's 22. She just graduated from UT in Austin. She's still living in Austin right now.
Good deal.
She's working and getting ready to go to law school. So she's taking the LSAT in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, she's already done it once, but she's just trying to
boost
up her
her
game.
score.
Yeah, up her game a little bit.
Yeah, good deal.
And she's something else. So I have no doubt she's going to do well.
Good.
Yeah.
Where's she planning on going to law school?
She's not sure, but she's kind of leaning towards the West Coast.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good deal. I don't blame her.
Yeah.
Get out of Texas for a while.
Yeah, just to get out of Texas and experience, like you said,
someplace else.
Making a,
and it's definitely different on the West Coast. Been there, done that. So that'll be fun. That'll be great. So you grew up in East Texas.
Yep. I have yet to leave.
You've let to leave, yeah. I basically, for the most part, I wasn't born in Texas. As the saying goes, I got here as quick as I could.
Right.
So I've lived here most of my life in the East Texas area, so I feel that. There were a few times where we thought about, picking up and moving and going somewhere else, but then all of our family was here, and it's really nice to have a support system when you're young parents, newly married.
That's exactly what kept me here.
Yeah.
Because my wife being from Lufkin, her mom was here, the kids are small. It just makes it so much easier when you have little children to have that support system, And, for us, that family is what it's all about, you know. And so we my folks still live in Longview.
Yeah.
And
it's just down the road, too.
Yeah. So, we're still pretty tight-knit. I have a twin brother, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So.
That's always interesting and fun.
Yeah.
It's not often you're like, oh, I'm a twin. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and we're identical. We were
actually
born on Father's Day in 1970. Yeah.
Nice.
So,
very good.
Yeah, it was a surprise on top of that. So
here's the surprise pregnant. Oh, by the way, it's twins. Oh, they're going to be identical. They're going to play all kinds of tricks on you.
Yeah. So he's a physical therapist.
Oh, so y'all both went in kind of the same field.
Yeah.
Very good.
And he has his own practice in Jasper.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Did you always want to be in medicine, or did you want to be like a fireman or a veterinarian or, a policeman?
No, yeah. I mean, not really.
No?
Yeah. I never thought about it much when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I just played and had fun and, climbed trees or whatever. Didn't really have any aspirations to do anything. And then, as I got a little older and started thinking about it, in high school, I was thinking maybe I love business. So that's your podcast really
is about business. Yeah.
Right. And it tweaked my interest, and plus just your whole family, everybody's doing something.
Right.
And every time I meet one of you guys, I'm like, well, Ben has a tattoo shop and his brother has the furniture place and your kids are doing the podcasts and social media and stuff. And that stuff just really interests me.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's really where my practice was kind of born out of. It was born out of that love of business, but also loving to help people.
Yeah.
So I just kind of have been trying to.
It just evolved into let me be a nurse practitioner. I can help people, but I can also kind of figure out how to make this industry better.
Right. So, it just kind of rewinding back just a little bit, I've been always working for someone else, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's some pluses in being an Indian, right? You don't have to worry with all the stuff and the income and making sure everybody's paid. And,
right.
And dealing with staff and just all that sort of stuff. But on the same token, you don't have that freedom to kind of
make the decisions,
do it the way you want to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I started looking at different businesses probably around 2014. And so I got into multi-level. My wife has done multiple multi-levels over the years, and I always loved the idea, right, of, putting in some work and getting a team together and then, going out there and being successful. But, most of them just don't work.
Right.
Ultimately.
Yeah.
And so, it sounds great, but it never really pans out for them.
If it sounds too good to be true, it usually is.
But on the same token, though, you look at all businesses,
Sure.
not just multi-level. And they all have about the same statistics. 90% of them fail.
Right. Yeah.
So
they say if you can make it past the first 3 years, 3 to 5 years, you know, if you can make it to that point, then you're usually guaranteed to until you want to stop. You know, whenever we were starting the coffee shop, that was what everybody said. Well, if you can make it 3 years, if you can just make it 3 years.
Speaking of the coffee shop, I got to go there for lunch today. Okay. I've already been, hey, I want a gyro for lunch.
Yep.
So I've got to go get her a gyro.
They do have a really good lunch. They have some amazing cooks there, and the desserts are great too. So everything's made in-house now, so you can't go wrong.
No, that's awesome.
Little plug for Standpipe Coffee House.
Well, it needs a big plug because it's a great place.
Thank you. It was our baby for the longest time. But yeah, they say if you can, you know, keep a business running and what have you for the first 3 to 5 years, then you pretty much established at that point. And, you know, like you said, most businesses fail before the 3-year mark. And that's kind of where this podcast was born out of, is to talk to the people who have been in that place, started new businesses, you know, all the ups and downs that go along with that, because, you know, there's a lot more people these days, I think, that are kind of venturing into entrepreneurialism because they're fed up with like the corporate rat race, or
right.
Like you were saying, you know, sometimes it's nice to be able to just go punch a time clock, but then, you know, you have no freedom in the things that are happening at your job. You don't get to make any decisions. So there's that. What do you give up? Do you give up the freedom and have the stability, or do you have freedom but the stability isn't quite, you know, you have to really work to make that happen. So yeah, I think it's made these last few years have definitely, I think, shown us all how important, you know, supporting community, right, and, you know, supporting those businesses, because, you know, when the push came to shove last year and people had to close, and then they can't find employees, or people have gotten sick, or they've had, you know, people die. Yeah, you have to really work a lot harder, I think, than they imagined they would have to.
Right.
No one, I think, expected in our lifetime we'd have to deal with a pandemic. So
right, and it's been a very unusual thing, and the pandemic really, for me, has been a blessing in disguise, really, because, you know, a lot of what I'm doing right now, telemedicine wise, is as a result of COVID. Yeah, and so, you know, I'm seeing mostly COVID patients right now online, you know, but, you know, it's convenient. They don't have to go anywhere. Most of the time they feel so bad they don't want to go anywhere. Sure. You know?
I miss the days. I remember being so sick sometimes, and I'm like, I remember back in the olden times, I've read books about it, where the doctor would come to the house and treat you at your home. Why can't we do that? And here we are. We full circle back to that almost.
And, you know, there may be some role for that in the future. I don't know what this is going to evolve into.
I think it's going to change the face of a lot of things, really, but definitely medicine.
Right. I mean, and just nothing can take the place of a good physical examination.
Sure.
Right. So
you should still probably do that once a year.
Right. Exactly. You know, men need to get their prostate checks. Women need to get their mammograms, their pap smears, you know, all of these preventative things. Right, and I'm of the age now where it's time to get a colonoscopy.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, 45 now.
45?
Yes, it went down from 50 to 45.
Oh, I'm knocking on that door. No thanks.
No.
Aging kind of is not so fun. I really want to get more into all of that, but before we do, I wanted to ask you, as a physician, I hope it's okay to call you that. I don't know what you said.
No, nurse practitioner.
It's different than physician.
Absolutely.
Okay. And sorry, don't mean to offend the physicians that might be listening.
Right, and you know, that's the deal. I respect physicians because of the training that they have, and what it's taken to get that title it represents a lot of work.
Yeah.
And the same for nurse practitioner. So I don't consider myself a physician.
Okay.
And never, you know, and that's one of those things that, no, I'm a nurse practitioner. My training has been different.
Yeah.
Okay. There are times when you need a physician.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I feel pretty strong on that point, actually.
Good deal. I'm sorry to
No.
The terminology. I think everybody in the medical career seems to be a physician in my mind because they just all take care of you. So, you know.
Right.
And
that's pretty common.
Yeah. Sorry
Most
about
people,
that.
No,
I know
no
for some there's a hierarchy sometimes and people get offended and like, well, I am a doctor. That is a nurse. There's a difference. I understand that, but you're all caring for people. And so in my mind, you're just a physician. Like,
right.
You know.
And you know what? In the end, that's really what matters.
Yeah, but
right?
I do want to be respectful of the titles and the work that's involved. But you live having that kind of a career and seeing the kind of things that you've seen over the years, you know, what do you do on a daily basis that can set you up for, you know, positivity and not bringing any negativity home and dealing with really heavy cases or you have a patient die? You know, I'm sure that's a thing that's more common these days than it used to be. And how do you separate yourself from getting too bogged down in the emotions of it all?
Right. I don't think it's really any different than living any life, right? So, okay. I mean, no matter what you do, you can bring negativity with you wherever you go, right?
That's true.
Or positivity.
Sure.
Right. And so I think the thing to do is just always try to find ways to boost that within ourselves. Mm-hmm. Okay. And it's tough, you know. It's tough for all of us. You know, none of us are perfect, right? And so, you know, it's funny this morning, me and my wife were having a little tiff this morning, you know, and it's not because we don't love each other.
Sure.
Right?
But that's life, man.
Yeah, that's life. And so we kind of have to sort it out. You know, why are you feeling this way? What's going on?
Right.
And, you know, once we do, you know, we're like, okay, sure, it's okay. I'm sorry I did that or whatever. You know, and just try to work through it. And then, you know, go to that place when you can. And, you know, as a matter of fact, one of the things I'm doing right now is I'm reading this book called The Holographic Universe. It's awesome. Yeah. It's a great book. And it's talking about how everything's connected, mm-hmm. right? And it's really, you know, it goes out there because it talks about what is reality, but maybe it's a hologram. Maybe we're in a hologram, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
So there's some pretty far out stuff,
that
but
sounds cool.
It's a great book.
What's the name of it again?
Holographic Universe.
Who's the author?
Oh, you would ask me
I'm
that.
sorry.
I forgot.
The Holographic Universe. Look it up on Google.
Yeah, here. I'll look it up real quick.
Actually, I have it.
Oh, Megan's got it.
Okay.
It looks like. Hold on. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. It looks like it's by Michael Talbot.
Yes, that's
Talbot.
It.
Okay.
Michael. It's actually an older book, right? So it was published, I think, in the 90s, maybe.
I don't have that, but yeah.
Yeah, somewhere around there. So it's a little older, but it's a great book. It's really opening my mind up to and speaking to really that positive place. Mm-hmm. It's got some great examples of people having incurable cancers and their mind process around that and mm-hmm. what they imagine and what they see, some imagery techniques. They actually do better.
Yeah.
They actually survive. Some of them go into complete remission without any explanation, mm-hmm. right? Not everybody,
sure.
You know, but and some of them respond to crazy treatments that otherwise wouldn't work or whatever.
Yeah.
And it talks about the flip side of that as well, whereas, you know, this one gentleman these all could be anecdotal, but I think in the end there's something to it.
Yeah. I mean, I think anything like that where you, what is it called? Like positive visualization. If you mm-hmm. just imagine it and you really reinforce that over and over and over again. Because whatever you think on is what you become.
Right, exactly.
So,
exactly.
You know, and I imagine, you know, seeing different patients, you know, you go from one appointment to the next appointment, you know, and you're switching back and forth. And if you have a difficult person that you're dealing with or, you know, something happened in between, you know, having to come back into the room and smile to the next person, shake their hand and be personable, because not all doctors or nurses have the best reputation for great bedside manner and can be hard to like shift in and out of different people that you see every day, all day long, and have that same bubbly friendliness that we've all come to know with you. Like just, hey, how's it going? How you feel? I know you're not feeling great. You're here, you know, like, and just being very casual and yet professional at the same time. You know, I like that about doctors that are, you know, will sit down and just kind of have a conversation with you rather than let me just, spout all these medical terms at you and I don't know what the heck they're talking about, So
Yeah.
I think that that helps if you're, like you were saying, you just, you work on that. You really focus on that positive mind frame,
Yeah.
You take that into your
and
work.
I think, when I'm seeing people, I just love people. And that's one of the things me and my wife talk about a lot is that we just love people.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you have to if you're going to be in that kind of career.
And so, I find people very interesting. Your whole family, I've always enjoyed visiting with each one of you.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget the first time I met Ben.
Right.
He
hates doctors, by the way, in case anyone didn't know.
And I could feel that from him, as soon as I walked in, and I'm like, oh, this guy's going to be a tough nut to crack.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just like, okay, I can do this,
Mm-hmm.
And he's got all these tattoos. It's a little intimidating,
Sure.
And he has this kind of crazy haircut, I think, the first time I met him.
Right.
And I'm just like, and then I find out he's an entrepreneur and he's doing all this stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, there's a lot to this guy.
Right. I mean, that's
There's
a lesson for
several
all of
layers,
us.
right?
Yeah. That, don't take people on their appearance, because once you get to know somebody, there's always a deeper layer there.
Right. There's multiple layers. And as I've gotten to know him over the visits, I was just like, I like this dude. He's awesome. You know?
I don't know that the ICU nurse staff would say that right now when he was in the hospital a few months ago. He was a bit of a difficult patient, but he doesn't like hospitals or doctors. So, and some people are like that. And I'm sure you run into that more frequently than
when
not.
you feel bad, really, the worst comes out.
Yeah.
I mean, and
you're dealing with people on their worst day, typically.
I mean, when you don't feel great, there's no telling what comes out of it.
Yeah. I mean, I've been there, done that. With all of that, what do you do in your free time to kind of unwind and, kind of take your mind off of work and just have some you time? Larry, what do you do? Do you have any hobbies?
Well, last night was Wine Wednesday.
Oh, well, Hey, that's a thing.
Yeah. So,
are you part of like a wine club or?
Kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So we went up to Roma's and had a couple bottles of wine,
Nice.
that kind of deal.
Good deal.
That was fun. We had a good time.
Sure.
Hang out with friends, that sort of stuff. I enjoy outdoor activities. I just don't get to do much of it.
Mm-hmm. No, we live in Texas, so it's either like the surface
Super
of the sun,
hot.
or, we're freezing.
Right. So, I mean, occasionally I'll take the canoe out and we'll go for a paddle, something like that. Like that kind of stuff. Love just hiking in the woods. Well, we do that occasionally, so we'll go on a little
commune with nature every now and then. It's a good thing for everybody's soul.
Yeah. So that, play with my dogs,
Yeah.
love on my dogs and just hang out. So last weekend went to Central Texas and hung out on got an Airbnb and just go see different places and that kind of thing. I like to do that kind of stuff.
Good deal. Well, I'm going to go into this section where we do rapid fire questions, and I'm going to ask a question, and it's just more personality stuff, so you just answer off the top of your head.
Okay.
And then we'll get into the heavy duty, like business stuff.
Okay, good. I can't wait.
We're getting there. What did you have for breakfast?
Green tea.
It's Megan's favorite question. Do you drink coffee, and if so, how do you take it?
I do. I'm kind of in between. I've stopped drinking coffee lately, but occasionally I'll pick it up, and sometimes I'll drink a cappuccino. Sometimes I'll drink it straight black.
Gotcha.
So
depends on the mood.
Right. Not
Gotcha.
necessarily sweetened though.
Okay. Do you have a favorite song right now? And if so, what is it? Like that you will replay over and over again on your phone.
Lil Wayne.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
And it's let me figure out which one it is. It's
I mean, he's pretty entertaining.
I love this song. I was just listening to I Miss My Dogs just on the way up here.
That's great.
But this one is Drop the World.
Nice.
That's a good song.
Yeah. Lil Wayne. I mean, you can't really go wrong there.
I know, he's funny. I had never listened to him, and I have a dear friend that has gone on to greener pastures, but he's the one that turned me on to him.
Good
And
deal.
he was a very interesting character himself. So I always think about him whenever I listen to it.
Good deal. Are you currently watching any TV shows? Do you have a favorite? Do you have
Yeah.
time for that?
Yeah, we do. We Netflix or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so right now into WandaVision.
Yes. Good. It's very good. We
You
watched
like
it when
it?
it originally came out, like back in the spring. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, just keep going. It's good.
Okay.
The first 2 episodes, I was like, what?
Yeah.
But it got really good after that. Do you have a favorite book besides the one you're currently reading?
Oh, I like Jack London stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah. I read that in school.
I know.
Yeah.
It's just good.
Call of the Wild, man.
Yeah.
They even made a movie recently, I think, with
Oh, did they?
Harrison Ford. Yeah. Right? Am I right? No, those are looking at me like, no, I don't know.
Well, that
those
sounds like it would be
listening, you can
good.
tell us one way or the other if I'm right or not. I thought that I remember him having a movie come out in the last couple of years about that book. But do you have a favorite flavor of ice cream?
Yeah, coffee.
Coffee flavor.
Or black walnut.
Okay. Interesting. Coke or Pepsi? Or neither?
If I'm going to drink one, it'll be a Coke.
Yeah. Sweet or salty?
Salty.
Beach?
I love sweets, though. I am known as the cookie monster at work. So if it's cakes or cookies, I'm on it.
Okay. Yeah, same. Sweet or salty? No, we did that. Beach or mountains?
Both.
Yeah,
Love it all.
same. What's your zodiac sign?
I am an identical twin.
Right?
I was born on June 21st, first
So
day
you're
of summer.
Gemini. No, you're Cancer.
So it flips.
Either way.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a cusper. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you like spring, summer, winter, or fall? Better.
I like all the seasons, really.
You don't have a favorite?
No, I love them all for different reasons.
Yeah. I'm kind of like that too.
You know, like right now, the weather is gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
These
If it
past
were like
couple of
this all the
days,
time, no complaints.
my daughter said, "Oh, this is Seattle in the summer." You know, I'm like,
Whatever.
being sassy.
Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
You know, I have probably I was introverted, but I've become extroverted over the years, and
Yeah.
it's simply because of the nature of my business.
Sure.
You know, and actually, I enjoy being extroverted more because I just love interacting with people.
Yeah.
I love like when young kids come in. I love it. I love messing with kids.
Yeah.
Because they're like, always, who is this dude? And, you know, it's funny because I remember being a kid and going to the doctor and it was scary.
Yeah.
You know, I dread it. I remember the path that we took, you know, in the car as I'm looking out the window. I remember the buildings that we'd pass and I knew where we were going,
Yeah.
you know, and I was scared.
So if you have a friendly doctor or a nurse, it's always better.
Yeah, I was always really scared. And so I think back on that. And when the kids come in, I always remember, you know, when he talked to me, I always smelled coffee or something on his breath, you know. And I'm like, this old dude's got bad breath, you know,
mean
and
and
he's
scary.
scary.
Yeah.
And so I always try to chew gum, freshen my breath up before I go mess with kids.
Well,
And
these
then
days
I'll
we're all
go in
wearing
the-
masks, so
Yeah.
it wouldn't really matter.
And then I go in there and I kind of play with them a lot,
Yeah.
you know, and that always usually makes them feel pretty good. I had this cute little girl at one time, just like a couple of days ago. She was walking out after our visit and she looks at her mama and she says, "That was my most favorite doctor ever." And I just couldn't help but keep hugging her and we were high-fiving. We made our own handshake and
Yeah.
all this crazy stuff. And I don't even remember what she was there for.
Yeah.
You know,
I think Ava, when I had to bring her in a couple years ago, she had some bronchitis or something. And I think that was one of the first times we had taken her in for anything because she doesn't really ever get sick. And she was like, that wasn't really as bad as it could have been. Like, but she's kind of a tough nut to crack like her dad. Like she's very stoic, you know, and so you can be making all the jokes and she'll just be like looking at you like, okay, whatever. You know?
Yeah, or like,
it's really hard to tell.
Yeah, this dude's weird. He's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
I love that part.
No, but she was like, that was better than I thought it was going to be. What's your favorite color?
Purple.
Okay. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No, it's a hot dog.
Okay. What's your favorite social media platform?
TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's addicting.
It is. It really
I was so good with my social media until TikTok came along.
It's addictive. Those 60-second videos will just suck you right in.
And then you just like
You keep scrolling, and then 2 hours later, you're like, what have I done with my life?
Where did my time go? So actually, that's one of the things I'll do today is I'll TikTok for a while.
Hey, it's your day off. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get serious here. You're running a telemedicine consultation website.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes.
So tell us what that means, because some people may not know.
Yeah. So one of the pain points that I found, right, in doing what I do is there was people that came in for usually simple problems, right? And so they may be in between physicians or primary care providers,
right.
we'll call them. And they needed some refills on their medications. And I just felt like the cost to do that, time, money, all of those things are very expensive.
It takes like half a day. You know?
Right. And so that's the main reason that I developed this website or had it put together.
Yeah.
And it's for those people, that are looking for, and it's interest of their time, my time, okay, and convenience, right? But also at a lower threshold price point.
And it doesn't take up, all day.
Right.
Because you can just do it from your computer.
It's a win all the way around. It's a win for the patients, myself. I mean, for me, I like to travel, right, and see different places, but the getting there is the hard part, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't really care for riding in a plane. I don't care for riding in a car. I can't wait till these things all do that for us, until Elon Musk actually
like an auto driving car.
Yes.
You just get in
and
program
we get
where you
in
want to
and
go.
we can read or
right. I would love that.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Road trips would be great if that was the case.
Yeah, it's happening. It's going to happen.
I'm sure. Maybe before we die.
I hope so. I hope so. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
The commute will be so nice.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't care to commute.
Yeah.
So what I've always done is live within 5 to 10 minutes of my work.
Yeah.
And just because I don't like to drive to work or from work. Now, so when I was driving out, I went out to Central Texas this past weekend, but that's a pretty good drive, And after about an hour, I'm like, oh, that's not so bad. But then after 4 hours, it's like, I
got to get out of this car.
Get ready to get out.
Got to get out of here. Yeah. That's my thing about it. Like, this is fun. And then it's like, I got 4 more hours in the car. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I can't do this. I like that. With this particular type of business, I'm guessing that it gives you a little bit more freedom and flexibility to take those kinds of trips and have that time off.
It does.
When you're not working in the clinic.
Right. And it does, but, it also is challenging because I really, internet service has got to be on point.
Yeah. Yeah. And
cellular service.
It's not so great.
No, it's not. And it's not great in a lot of other places too.
Yeah.
And so there you go.
So you got a challenge there.
Yeah.
For you, not only yourself having a great internet connection, but the patients talking to you having one.
Right. And then also, not getting in a mental spot where you're not ready to help somebody. Mm-hmm. Like I'm busy driving, so
I can't answer.
I can't really answer the phone.
Yeah.
Or see someone. Especially, and then also with HIPAA, which the privacy, if I'm in the car with my family,
you can't discuss medical issues.
Can't be visiting with a patient.
That's interesting you bring all that up, because I was going to ask, what challenges do you face when it comes to doing practicing medicine in a non-traditional way, as you would going into an office and sitting in an exam room? So it sounds like there are several things you have to kind of jump over.
Yeah. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, really.
Yeah. So this all sounds very appealing to me, because I don't ever really get super sick with anything that's not typical that I've had all my life, like bronchitis or a sinus infection or something like that. So, for me, dialing up, your service and going, hey, Larry, it's that time of year again. I got a sinus infection. And you can go, okay, yep. And you got this, yep. Okay, here's your prescription. And you can get it done. But some people, I imagine, there's a block. Like, they're not really getting medical service if they're not in the doctor's office. So how do you overcome something like that and teach people how to do this a new way?
You're not going to get everybody.
Yeah.
And so there are certain people that it's just
just
not
never
going to
gonna
be.
work.
Yeah, it's not going to be for.
Yeah.
But for someone like yourself,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's my client. You know, that's the person I'm going to.
No, obviously,
reach
if
out
I was, if I had something out of the ordinary, I would definitely go in for
well,
that.
and honestly, most of the time, my patients tell me what's wrong with them.
Yeah.
They tell me what's going on.
Right.
And
Do you
so-
listen to a patient when they tell you? Because like I've had great doctors where they're like, you know your body better, but then I've also had no, that's not what's happening to you right now. This is what the problem is, and I'm like, well, okay, if you think so, but it feels just like this. How do you mitigate your medical expertise and mesh that with someone knowing what their body operates like? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, because I run into this every day.
Okay.
And basically what I tell, I'll listen to them first and let them tell me what's going on. And then, I just base it on, well, this has been my experience, and this is what I typically see. And these are the things that you said that makes me think this. Mm-hmm. And these are the things that you said that makes me think that this is not possibility,
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when it's more serious conditions, it's not clear cut.
Sure.
And so you've got this primary diagnosis, and then multiple what we call differential diagnoses. So basically is, what other possibilities could this be?
Sure.
So like abdominal pain, there's lots of things that could be.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And so you have to sort through it and
Ask all the questions.
Yeah, and talking with the patient and that sort of thing. So there's lots of history and all that stuff that's important.
Are there any different sort of legal or when you're doing a non-physical exam and you're having this consultation with someone online and they're complaining of a certain thing, and is there a greater liability, say you get it wrong because you didn't physically see them? What all does that entail? Like, how does that work?
This is a fairly new space for me. So,
okay.
Haven't
really reached that yet, right?
What you're talking about is pretty serious stuff,
Yeah.
and it can happen. There is a part of my liability insurance that asks about telemedicine, I have special insurance just for that.
I mean, I imagine that you're listening to a patient talk and you saying all these things and you just go, you know what, this really is going to require an in-person visit. I'm so sorry. Does that happen from time to time?
It hasn't yet, but I'm sure
okay.
it will.
Good deal.
Oh, well, yes, it has. No, it has. As a matter of fact, I've got this one particular patient that I'm thinking about. It's requiring more diagnostic workup than what the visit can do. But at least it gives me a starting point.
Yeah,
right?
I would see that this
and
kind of
ultimately,
service,
get him to someone that is going to physically look at him.
Is best for common cold, flu, sinus infection, things like that are relatively repetitive in a person's life, that aren't super life-threatening or serious. If you don't have any pre-existing medical conditions, this is a perfect service for someone like that who works and really can't take that time off to go to the doctor.
Right. And so that's why that was the main driver behind me doing that.
If I had like severe abdominal pain, I'm not going to just call up and do a telemedicine thing. I'm going to go in, because that could be a whole bunch of things like you were saying.
Right.
It could be very serious. And, you don't really want to, that's not a thing I've had to deal with in my life. This is new. I should probably go see a doctor in person, And
exactly.
And you finding that most people have very good common sense about, okay,
yes.
this is a common cold.
Right.
They can write me a script for, zithromycin or something.
Exactly.
Good deal.
Absolutely.
What do you find to be one of the biggest difference? I mean, obviously, besides the obvious one of not seeing people in person, but what are the biggest differences you've noticed? Do you have more client satisfaction or patient satisfaction, I should say, when you do this? Because it's, you're doing it on your time and their time, and it's not, blocking off a half a day to go into the doctor or.
All the feedback that I've gotten so far has been 5
very
star.
positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's 5 stars.
Yeah.
So they love it.
Yeah.
And
which isn't always the case with a face-to-face visit.
Right. And like you said, though, the common small recurring issues that are more nuisances, mm-hmm. That's what this was born out of. That's the person I'm trying to help.
Yeah.
The person that has a busy schedule, doesn't have a lot of time, and we have pretty extended hours, or like we keep it open from 8 in the morning to 10 at night.
Yeah.
And so, ultimately, would I want it to go all night long? Maybe. I don't know.
Eventually, maybe one day.
Yeah, but I'm only one guy, and so
Yeah.
it takes.
You need some extra people to help you out there.
Actually, I do have a partner.
Okay.
I haven't mentioned him, but his name is Mike.
Okay.
He's awesome nurse practitioner, and really, I started it with another partner, and she had to take step back for personal reasons, but having someone kind of shoulder that burden and man the phone.
Yeah.
Basically.
This is a lot for one person to deal with.
Right.
In any business, especially one in the medical field.
Right. So I've got that, and he and I do a pretty good job. And so sometimes when we have personal stuff that comes up, we just block our time off.
Yeah. Good deal.
It's pretty easy.
Was this an idea you already had before COVID, or did COVID really, push this into the forefront?
I had it before COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was already working on it. Yeah, I was kind of giving you a little bit of background where I went into MLM and stuff, but I also was seeing that how, social media, online presence, all that sort of stuff.
Everything is moving to online.
Yeah, that's the way things are,
I have therapy sessions online with a counselor, rather than going and sitting on a couch in an office somewhere. Because, COVID kind of prevented that for the longest time. But then now it's just very convenient. I can do it at home, on the phone, or on my computer with a video camera, and there you go.
Right. And so I found this guy he was an online entrepreneur, and I poured a lot into it, money and time.
Yeah, setting up a website isn't nearly as cheap as Wix and Squarespace would make you think.
Well, and you get what you pay for.
That's true.
Yeah.
So especially when you're dealing with medical things, you want it to be as secure as possible, and credit card information and all of those things. That stuff's not cheap to have.
Right. So I use Square for all that, just because it's so convenient for small business owners.
And it integrates with a lot of websites really easily.
My dream would be my own platform. But again, super expensive.
Yep.
Maybe in the future where I'll have it like an app, and you can just bam.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Just an app you download on your phone, and you can talk to a doctor at any point.
Yeah.
Or a nurse practitioner or whoever.
Right. That's the future, I think.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to build.
I would totally do that.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's certain visits you have, we were talking about annual exams that you need to do in person with a doctor. But anything else that comes up, that to me is the ideal scenario, because I can do it from home because I feel like crap. These days you can order your groceries online and go pick them up. Or they'll sometimes, if you live within the city limits, they'll come deliver them to your house. So everything being so convenient, especially when it comes to your health. Now, do insurance companies pay for this? Or
absolutely.
Okay.
There again, that takes another line of staff to manhandle and to make sure that you're doing everything the insurance companies want to do. For that reason, and because it's a one-man show, I'm only do cash visits.
Yeah.
At this point, at some point, I probably will start taking insurance, but right now, I'm just doing cash visits.
But insurance will pay for it if you live in an area that has telemedicine.
Many of the insurances actually provide telemedicine.
Oh, great. And that wasn't just a COVID thing, but it has become more popular during this time period.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you were saying that you were dealing with a lot more COVID issues, obviously, because of, the time period we're living in. Has everything else decreased, or has that just been our focus, as a society, lately?
It's I've seen it pretty unfortunate sometimes when somebody comes in with some other serious issues and they've had this significant runaround just because of the COVID stuff.
I'm guessing it's made it harder to, if you don't have COVID,
yes,
get treatment, because that's where everybody's focus is.
Exactly. And so, one of those deals where you can't see the forest for the trees, Because there's no definitive, at least in everybody I've talked to who's either had it or what have you, that there are some definitive symptoms, but any symptom could almost be an indicative of COVID. So you almost have to get tested to know for sure. Right. And the tests aren't that great either.
Right. Yeah. And if you go get them at the store, they're kind of expensive.
Well, And to that point, and this is one of the things I've been telling a lot of people about, really the Walgreens COVID test is no different than the one I use at the clinic that I work in.
Yeah.
It's the same test. As a matter of fact, one of them that's on the shelf is the exact same test.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, you can go pay $25 at Walgreens for 2 tests.
Right.
Versus a couple of $100
here at the clinic. Yeah. Especially if money's an issue for you and you don't have insurance.
Yeah,
that's a big deal.
That's a big deal. And so, and educating and letting people know that that's a possibility. And you know, the other thing is they think, well, this test is not as good as the one that they do at the clinic.
Mm-hmm.
But in truth, it is.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a sham from the medical viewpoint, you know, to my test is better.
People extra.
Yeah, but
I mean, I get why you have to. You have a whole staff you have to pay for.
Right, and the building and all
right.
that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of overhead, but there again, you know, there are better ways to skin a cat, so to speak.
Right. Yeah. I just know that this entire time has been incredibly challenging. I have several friends in the medical field and nurses who've been on the front lines of this, and everybody's just exhausted. Are you in that place mentally? Or are you still? Yeah.
I'm getting there pretty frequent.
It's got to be frustrating to live in a time where people completely just sort of ignore what doctors and experts have advised and just done something completely opposite of that, and you create this, you know, bigger problem in the end, as we've seen with these variants, you know, over time, people not getting vaccinated or wearing the mask, and it just keeps perpetuating the spread. And I other friends I've talked to are just like, we're just exhausted. If people would just do the bare minimum, so we don't have to work until we die, you know, and be so exhausted. So I can just imagine mentally this has got to be,
you know,
really dragging.
And just real quick, and there's a lot of feelings about this, and there's a lot of misinformation and different things. But I think the best thing that we can do during the epidemic is to vaccinate.
Yeah.
You know, and people have their reasons, and I understand that. I don't want to belittle anyone for their reasons, right? Sure. You know, but one of the things I like to say is, you know, well, actually, my oldest daughter. She worked at Fred Hutch Cancer Center over in Seattle, and their group was very much one of the leading scientific research areas in COVID. As a matter of fact, she was published on a research paper about the spike protein. Wow. So I have some kind of what you would call inside knowledge. Not really. I mean, it's readily available to everyone.
But you understand it better than most lay people.
and so, you know, we're huge vaccine proponents here.
Sure.
And you know, and
I think
as
the
a matter of fact, her
are
roommate was on one of, you know, plug Moderna, but she was on their trials.
Yeah.
And so she's done quite well. She's even gotten boosters, you know. But anyway, all that, I think that's the best thing that we can do. Yeah.
And I hope eventually people will see that is the way to go, and we kind of bring this to an end, and it take life back to a more, I don't want to say normal, because I don't know that we were ever in a normal place, but like back to a less tense time where people were dying every day when they didn't have to, you know, and so that the medical community could get a bit of a break as well.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I tell people, you know, nothing's without its risk.
Sure.
Right? I mean, we get in our car.
What's the greater risk, though?
Right. We get in our car and drive to the grocery store.
That's dangerous.
Get in and actually more dangerous. If you look at the statistics,
more likely to die in a car accident than anything else.
Right. And we get in it and do it every day without thinking about it. So,
totally. And we all used to, you know, there used to be a thing where, you know, seatbelts weren't required, and now they are. And look at how they're preventative they are to severe injury or death.
Right.
You know, so time marches on, and hopefully eventually that'll not be an issue anymore. But I hope for your sake and everyone in your line of work that, you know, people catch on a little quicker, and we can move past all of this. We are almost out of time. So I wanted to ask you, what has this business taught you about yourself? And do you have any pearls of wisdom to pass on to anyone who is either in your industry or thinking to starting a business? Like, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I think the primary thing that it teaches you is just get out there and do it.
Yeah,
right.
Just do it.
Just do
Nike
it.
was right.
Right. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
You just got to get out there and do it, and you got to keep doing it. That's the hard part, really, is staying with it. Even, there are days when I wouldn't have a single patient.
Yeah.
Making
it really discouraging.
Yeah, super discouraging. I can go all week without a patient.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, that's not going to pay the bills.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to the day where we can have, enough patients there that it takes a full-time provider.
Yeah.
We're not there yet, but we're
slowly and surely,
getting the word out. That's probably the hardest part.
Right. And getting people to see the value of it for what it is. And that's always, shifting people's perspectives because people are so used to going to the doctor. But now, especially, I bet this is a very popular service with younger people who do everything online.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah. They're used to doing this stuff.
Yeah.
The kids are.
Everything is online.
The millennial generation, it's super easy.
It's us old dogs that have to learn new tricks, right?
Yep.
Good deal.
And old dogs can learn new tricks.
They can. They very much can. Yeah. I'm learning that every day. Do you have any advice for anyone, anybody in the medical field or anywhere else, just that, you would impart that was given to you that you were like, I hang on to this, or something you've learned along the way?
Something that I've learned is don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask. You're not too big to,
But that's really hard for most people to do. Asking for help.
Yeah.
Is such a, I don't know if it's part of the ego or if it's just the way our society has taught us. It's weakness if you have to ask for help, but that is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah, I tell you, I couldn't have. I was really, before my last partner came on, I told him this. When he came, I said, look, I just threw it out there because my other partner had to take a step back, and I was managing it by myself for a while. And again, it was a few patients, very discouraging, a lot to try and keep up with. And so I reached out to this guy and I said, hey, I really would like for you to consider doing this with me. And so we sat down and I went over it with him, and he was like, yeah, this looks great. Yeah, let me think on it and I'll get back to you. And when he got back to me within a day or two, and he was like, yeah, I want to do this. It really made the difference for me.
Yeah.
Because I was ready to just go ahead and shut it down.
Yeah. I think a lot of business owners, when they bring in those people that can fill the gaps that, that you need filled, it makes a huge difference. It feels like a bit of a risk to begin with because, the money and, am I going to be able to afford it and da-da-da. But in the end, ultimately, it almost always leads to better success because then you're not so burnt out.
Right.
And you're not so spread thin. And so asking for help is a big one.
Yeah, so that's really what's kept it going and why I'm even here talking to you today is because it's still open and still
going.
Yeah.
So on that note,
still looking for patients.
On that note, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you online?
Oh, yeah, I have actually I have two websites. One is super easy. It's mynp.clinic, mynp.clinic, and the other one is mynursepractitioner.clinic.
Okay.
So
they go there and then they fill out all the stuff. And
it's super easy. It just has a one-click button. It's a super simple website. It's got my picture, my partner's picture on it down at the bottom. Kind of gives you a brief summary of things that we treat and book your appointment button.
Good deal.
And that's it. And it takes you to a Square website where you actually put in your credit card and address and all that. Then we have a back end that's the actual electronic health record and telemedicine platform built in together.
Good deal.
So we reach back out to the patient,
through that,
and we have a Google Voice number so we can text back and forth, and both of us have it on our cell phone, so it's super easy.
Good deal. Well, we'll include that website in the description of this podcast episode. If you guys are looking for a new and efficient way to talk to a doctor when you're not feeling so great, this is something to definitely consider. I know I will be checking it out the next time I need a physician or a nurse to help me with whatever ailments that I'm suffering at that moment in time. Larry, thanks so much for coming by and talking with us today. This has been fun. It's good to get my feet wet back into the whole podcast hosting again after a hiatus. So thank you so much for being willing to come and chat with us.
I really appreciate this. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think this time in history, talking to people in your field is very important, and getting the word out there for all the options that are available to people is a big deal. So thank you so much for coming by. I hope everybody enjoyed this episode. You learned something new. Catch us next time for the next guest, and we'll see you then.
Bye, guys.
Do you have a story to tell? We want to hear it. If you'd like to be a guest on our podcast and share your story, contact us on our website at painpoints.com or any of the social media linked on our website. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. We'd appreciate a review, a like, or a comment to let us know what you think. You can find all of our podcasts linked on our website under the podcast tab. Once again, thanks for joining us, and we want to wish everybody a wonderful day.